Hello everybody, I am back to my resin. I have been so busy that I haven't had time to do any resin. I started this chessboard. As you can see over here, I've got chess pieces poured. But the way I did this chessboard, I had a lot of overage, and it didn't help that I was spraying it with alcohol to pop bubbles. That did not help at all. And I left it for several days. I've been meaning to come back to this and I haven't had a chance. Here I am almost 20 minutes after 9 p.m. We're in the middle of a snowstorm. Doesn't matter. But I'm hoping to get that blue re-poured. Because when I came down here tonight, thinking, okay, I'll just clean up the chessboard and pour my second color. This is like a fire and ice type chessboard for my step-grandson. He's 10 years old and he loves to play chess. Anyhow, there was no cleaning it up. And when I tried to trim within the chessboard itself, it kind of broke the seal. And I'm like, okay, scrap it. And I picked up all the squares that were poured and tossed them in the garbage. Then, after I had all this overpour, I thought, I need to figure out how to do this efficiently. And I want to say it was Daniel Cooper and Michelle from Glitz and Glitter. It may not have been Daniel Cooper. I'm not positive. But they used a pipette for their chessboards. So that's what I am going to do in this video. And I'm going to use a pipette, put a little bit on every other square, and then kind of use the pipette to spread it around. I've already mixed up my color and everything and my resin. It's been sitting here degassing. But I don't need it thick, and these walls in each square are very thin anyhow. So I'm going to attempt this again. And what they did is they used a pipette, right? And then they went right on top, just a little, and they would squeeze it out. I probably needed a larger hole. This is going to take forever. But of course, I don't want to get resin on my scissors. Is this self-leveling? I think what I'm going to do is just kind of scoop it out on each one and then see how much it levels out and go around and spread it. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and demold a couple of these pieces so you can see them. But I'm trying to be very careful not to do any overpours this time around. Oh, and I got the wrong color over here. I got to get that up now, because I don't want that blue on that square. I dripped. Because the last time what I did is I poured from a cup. I think it was a paper cup that I used, and not a smart idea. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on a little bit of a fast forward so you don't have to watch me suffer through each one of these squares.
Snow on the porch, coffee getting cold. Radio hums like an old town road. Garage smells like pine epoxy dreams. Blue and red swirling, glossy and neat. Handstand silver, patience running thin. Clock says midnight, but I'm all in. Every square's a promise, every pour precise. This ain't just a board, it's fire and ice. Lights on the tree flicker like they know something magic setting up slow. It's fire and ice for Christmas night. Red hot passion, blue coal like crazy crafter, heart stubborn as sin. Pouring love into resin again. Kings and queens gonna clash real nice on board built once. Fire and ice, yeah, wrapped in love, not store-bought twice. Fire and ice for Christmas. Gloves on, heat gun humming late. Bubbles rise, then they gotta go. One long move, yeah, start again. But perfection's where I'm living in. You don't know yet what's under that tree. Just thinks grandma's watching TV. But every move, every check you make carries a little piece of my faith. Silent house, but my mind won't sleep. Some gifts are promises you keep. It's fire and ice to I held those right here in there. Every square's a lesson, every line's a choice. Life plays right, but love moves the pieces, boy. Yeah, this ain't just a game, it's a memory set in resin. It's fire and ice for Christmas Day, when paper, tears, and smiles stay. From a crazy crafter who never quits, who loves too hard and pours through it. Years from now, when the board's still bright, he'll remember this Christmas night. Not just a gift, but the sacrifice. Starlit eyes for Christmas. Snow keep falling, mold finally cured. Hearts tied, but the love secure. Should make it, you already won. Fire and ice from Grandma Jim.
Okay, here is the scoop. I got my cup cleaned out. This took a while. And when I say it took a while, it took a while. Okay? And here's the scary part. I was down to my last drops, my last drips in my cup. I thought I wasn't going to have enough. I was so scared that I was going to overfill. And I don't know if I have enough of this blue. I don't even know what it's called exactly. It's in the, what is it called? The Chrome Powders by Let's Resin. There's a blue, and then this is a red that is going to be the second color. But I ended up, when you saw some of the fast forward, it took me a while. I took a couple and switched tools a couple times to try to get it to edge. And now I'm there doing the scrape to try to get every last drop, because I almost did not have enough, and I mixed up 2 ounces. So I know that half of the squares here are 2 ounces and mix up slightly more. I had all these bead molds out thinking, oh, I'm going to have all this extra, because 2 ounces seemed like a lot for these little squares, but they took more than what I thought they were going to take. And then to top it off, my resin was thickening up on me. I was running out of time. And I had plenty of hearts. Some of them I do have to trim up for pendants. That was from this pour. And I had a lot of leftover from the first time I poured this. Like I said, it was all over. I had spillage over because I didn't know what I was doing. What I should have done is watch some YouTube videos before I did my first pour. Because then tonight we would have been doing the red. But I'm going to unmold. See if I could get a couple of these out. Sorry I'm off camera, because these are not the easiest to demold, and I don't want to bust anything off. I don't want to rip my mold either. I'm trying to get this out. These are not easy to unmold, and I am so afraid of ripping my mold. Then I'm really screwed. Ah, there we got it. This is the rook. This is one of the hard ones. And what I did, okay, I see some trimming I got to do. No big deal. When I poured these, I did a lot of squishy. So I wanted to make sure that I had no air pockets as I try to turn this right side out again. And this chest set is from Let's Resin, this mold is. But what I did is, when I poured, I'm down here in the corner, squish like this, and I'm watching the air bubbles come up. I wanted to make sure I had no bubbles. I do have trimming to do because there's a little bit of spillage. I even dumped. I tell you what, I knocked over a couple of chest pieces and I had a cleanup to do, but I had so much leftover resin, I was able to refill them and still do a bunch of pendants that I'm going to just put some flat back bales on. But I'm looking at this rook and everything's there, and I'm not seeing any bubbles. So that rook came out fine. Where's an easy one? How about a pawn? I'm not going to demold all of these on camera because that will take a while. There's the pawn. Okay, there is one space right there that I missed in this one. And I hate to try to re-pour this. I might try some UV resin to try to fix that. So that wasn't a bubble, that was an air pocket. You generally can see right through these because they're kind of translucent. These are transparent, these molds. Let me do another pawn. I think this is a pawn. Yep. See, this one is absolutely perfect. A little bit of, I think I could put some UV resin on the bottom and level that out. That's a little bit of an underpour. That might have been one of the ones that spilled. But the rest of these, I'm going to take out of the molds off camera. And when we come back to do the red, I'll show you some more of the pieces. Okay, guys, it's time for the red. I am going to have a ton of extra. I'm going to tell you now. So when I started pouring the first part, I was a little overzealous and poured 7 ounces of part A. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to have a lot of beads. But this is the Let's Resin. I have it in AI mode. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this up.
Snow on the porch, coffee getting cold. Radio hums like an old town road. Garage smells like pine epoxy dreams. Blue and red swirling glossy and neat. Handstand silver, patience running thin. Clock says midnight, but I'm all in. Every square's a promise, every pour precise. This ain't just a board, it's fire and ice. Lights on the tree flicker like they know something magic setting up slow. It's fire and ice for Christmas night. Red hot passion blue coal like crazy crafter hearts that burn out sin. Pour love into resin again. Kings and queens gonna clash real nice on board bill once. Fire and ice, yeah, wrapped in love, not store-bought twice. Fire and ice for Christmas. Gloves on, heat gun humming late. Bubbles rise, then they gotta go. One long move, yeah, start again. But perfection's where I'm living in. You don't know yet what's under that tree. Just thinks grandma's watching TV.
But I'm mixing in my red. This is like really rich red, and I know I'm going to need more. Hey, Let's Resin. Want to send me another pot of red? Just saying. Hint, hint. This red is gorgeous. Now I'm trying to make sure it all gets incorporated and mixed in. Last thing we want is unmixed mica powders. This is, again, from their chrome kit, chrome powders. So I'm going to continue mixing. Probably going to have to add some more to it, but I need to take it off camera so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm ready to start pouring. And I want to say, no vacuum chamber, no debubbler. And out of all these pieces, only one bubble on one of the pawns. So I'm in no hurry to go buy a vacuum chamber. I have a debubbler that I do not like because it doesn't seem to work very well. But I pour a little bit in. Yeah, I kind of split it up a little bit. I poured some resin in a small cup so it's easier to control. But what you need to do, I don't know if you can see this or not. You see how there's no resin in this bottom part? I don't want to spill my resin. Well, you have to squeeze it. And you see that? There's an air bubble coming up, and it popped. You squeeze it until you can see all the resin down in the ball of your pawn and in their outer ring. I missed one on one of the pawns and that's where that bubble came in the one ring. And I still got air bubbles coming up. I squeeze it and squeeze it and squeeze it until There's no more bubbles coming up. And it looks solid. Still not quite solid in that ring. So I'll keep on squeezing it. Now it does look pretty solid in that ring. Then I'll set it down and finish filling it. And if you do get a tiny micro bubble somewhere, very easily fixable. I'll be fixing mine with a little bit of UV resin. And then I'm going to finish the rest of my pieces, and I will be back. Okay, my chess pieces are poured. It took me several minutes. And, you know, I have my big thing of resin here that I mixed up originally. And I had to fill this up a second time. And all the chess pieces took about 5 ounces of resin. And here's a trick. Number 1, don't use alcohol to take out bubbles. Do not use a torch. Especially on the chessboard. Learn from what I did wrong the first chessboard I tried to pour for this set. Alcohol made my resin overflow. And I think that was the main issue. I didn't even squirt alcohol down inside the mold. And I'm looking, I do not see any bubbles anywhere. It is like, you know, you see all these big creators. I myself am thinking, when I started out, I'm very new to resin. I say that because 3 or 4 years ago, I tried it. I did not have all the resources. There weren't as many resin artists on YouTube. You see them pour, but you never hear the tips and tricks, except for Daniel Cooper. Well, I did everything wrong. I gave it up. My molds went into, what little molds I had, went into a drawer. Forgot about it for a couple of years. Then I pulled everything back out because Michelle and Dawn, they had a video popped up in my video feed. I'm like, okay, I've been bitten by the bug again. I'm going to give resin another try. And before I dove in, I watched a shitload of their videos and Daniel Cooper's as well. And I learned a lot. I just didn't do it when I was first trying to do this chess set. And I got this chessboard set mainly for a Christmas present, to make a Christmas present for my step-grandson, right? Well, I've been bitten by the bug. And, of course, I did go on a spending spree that I probably shouldn't have, because, honestly, I'm on a fixed income. Don't have, and I subsidize a little bit with DoorDash. And I'm only going to pour a little bit per square. Then I'll add as I need. This round is going to be a little bit easier because I already have the first set of squares filled. Whoop! Except for that. Dumbass. I just got dumbass disease. Yep. So, this is where, and I gotta find my scissors. Yep, don't do what I just did. Cut off the tip. I find that these pipettes, they're too hard to pull up resin with a skinny tip. So I'm pulling some of this out, and I've got a shit ton of resin. Maybe that's not gonna work well. Okay. Plan B. Plan B. I know I got them here. Here's one. A little squeegee thing. I just need to pull some of this resin out because it's way too much in that square. And I'm catching it now. That is a very full square. See, I still make mistakes. Like I said, I'm still new to resin. I'm glad I did that on camera. So you can see what not to do. The back of these I'm not as worried about because I'm putting a backing on this chess piece, on this chessboard. I'm just worried about the red changing the color of the blue once, from the front. I don't want a purple hue. You know what I mean? Boys in purple usually doesn't go over well. I love this thing. This was actually, I bought this. Can't remember if I got it on Amazon or if I actually got it at Walmart. but it's in the fingernail stuff. Because I think it was meant for nail polish. Taking nail polish off. But it works great. Or putting alcohol in it. Because, you know, if you do gel polish at home, you have to dry your nails out with alcohol. Well, works just as well in resin. So I guess I'm not going to have to worry about topping this square off. Just got to get the resin over. I got a lot of resin out of there. It's instances like this I say, do not try to spritz these with alcohol. Ain't gonna work because you're gonna overflow your squares. That's what I did with my first chessboard that I tried to make. And if my head's in view, I am sorry. Ignore the hair. I'm still in pajamas. Still snowy roads. Hopefully they get those roads cleared up here pretty soon. Because when I'm done with this, I really need to go and DoorDash. Need to make some money, you know? Chase that mighty dollar. I just want to make sure it's completely in that corner. And from my angle, I'm having a hard time seeing it. See if I stand up. And the glow, I think it is. I think I got it. I do want to squeegee this off of the blue. I don't think that much red is going to make a difference on the front side. But when I pour my backing color, that's the other thing. Because I'm pouring a marbled black and white on the back. Mostly black. I guess I can always touch it up with a marker later. If the black doesn't show up very well because of the damn red. Whatever hits your silicone first, your mold first, is what you're going to see. Okay? I'm just going to add just a touch more here. And that comes from Michelle from Glitz and Glitter. That's what she always says. Whatever hits your mold first is what you are going to see. Especially when she says that a lot when it comes to marbling or Dawn's glitz effect. You know, whatever's going to hits the silicone first is what you're going to see. I hope that stands true, which means any overage. I cleaned up this mold very, very well before I started pouring the red with tape. Because, you know, there were drips of blue on a couple squares. Not a lot, but it cleaned up. And I see there's a couple little bubbles on a couple of the squares. I'm not too worried about it on this side. Their surface, because they're not going to be seen. Because, like I said, there's going to be a backing on this board. I'm trying to do this a little bit quicker because yesterday my resin started thickening up at the end of me pouring the blue. And I was worried that I wasn't going to get it done. Not to mention worrying about running out of resin. Now, what did I do with that? Oh, here's a squeegee. Yeah, I'm seeing some stray red, yes. This is my problem. I see things and then I think I immediately have to fix it. Probably because I'm afraid if I don't, I'm going to forget. Let's keep things into perspective here. I'm a blonde. I'll go back. Jen, just do it after you're done pouring. Or you're going to drive yourself crazy. And I'm going to have a lot of extra. I'm going to see what else I can pour. So in my head, I'm like trying to calculate. I did some research. How much does this chess set take? And I know that the blue pieces were, I mixed up 2 ounces of blue last night. And it almost wasn't enough. So I figured 3 ounces for the red today. And then the chess pieces are supposed to take 5 to 6 ounces. Well, I accidentally mixed up 14. Because I wasn't paying attention when I was pouring. I'm like, oh shit. I'm going to have a hell of a lot of resin. But that's okay. I need beads. Because I'm doing some jewelry too. Resin arts and some hemp knotted jewelry. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The hippie jewelry. And I'm going to use my handmade beads. It's some of that. I might even sell some of my beads to other crafters. And not to mention, gotta have pendants. You know? Gotta have pendants. Gotta have things to give away in orders. When I start actually getting orders, that's probably going to be a while before people want to order anything from me. I got to get my website up to date. It's crazycrafter.com, but with a K. K-R-A-Z-Y. Because C-R-A-Z-Y was already taken as a domain. And then I was going to change his YouTube channel with a K. Couldn't even do that. Because somebody had that with a K on YouTube. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Oops, sorry for my language. I'm sorry. If I find it when in editing, I'll try to bleep that out. Okay, now I need my pointy to start trying to. All right, see, this one's going to need some more. Yep, and it's already starting to get a little bit thick. So my working time is closing in on me. That's what happened to me last night too. Resin started thickening up. Wasn't moving as easily or spreading. So I am going to finish this up and get these squares done, get my extras poured, and then I will see you back here on demold. Okay, so it's not demold time. I lied. I wasn't going to film the back, but then I decided to go ahead and film it. My resin's been sitting here degassing because, you know, I don't have a vacuum chamber. And I'm going to go ahead and pour my back. I have 4 ounces of resin. This board's supposed to take a total of 6. There's already 4 in there. But I decided to go a little bit extra just in case. I am going to start with all black. And pray I have enough. I will spread this out. And I think I am actually going to get a spatula here. As soon as I find it, there it is. Okay. I hope I don't have to pour any more. If I have to mix up more, I gotta mix up more. This is black. That's what I'm starting with. And my whole idea was to sprinkle in the white. I have a feeling that I did not make up enough resin. I thought for sure 4 ounces would be enough. I probably should have done the 6 more ounces. I don't know if I'm going to get any more out of this cup. Scrape, 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 scrape. It's amazing what you get out of scrapings. I think that cup is done. See if I can. I do not have my heat mat on. I want to get this spread over because it's basically supposed to be a black and white board. I might have to mix up more resin. I have a feeling this is not going to be enough. My dog's barking at something upstairs. I don't know what it is. I want to get like a base coat of the black. And pray I'm not ruining this board. And pray I have enough of this resin left. Worst case scenario, maybe this cures and I have to do a clear coat on the back. That's going to be my worst case scenario. Because the resin I was using, I don't know if I have enough to make up anymore. It is like near the bottom and I don't want to mix 2 different types of resin for the same cure. Top coating, that's different. Once this is cured, I could put another resin on top. I want to get a good coating of black. Especially because I want the black, especially to be in the lines of the board, you know what I mean, in between the squares. That's why I wanted the back especially to have black on it. I did not feel like going through paint or trying to paint in the lines on the front. I'm not the best at that. I've tried it. But as long as all the lines have black in them, I think I will be okay. I wanted the back of the board to be kind of marbled, but I don't know if I'm going to get that effect. I might. And it's no secret that I'm pretty new to resin. I have very limited experience. You know, some of you creators, Reptiles in Resin, Michelle, from Glitz and Glitter, make it look so easy. I'm just trying to spread this out. My thought process is the sides, I do want marbling, but I mainly want it coated in black. The back is going to be the back, you know. That's where most of the marbling was going to take effect. But we'll see how this turns out. Where's that cup? Let's scrape some of this black off of here. For right now. So I think it's all in those lines. Wipe off my... Not that it matters, because there's probably going to be end up a lot of grayish color anyhow. But I took out some of the white, because this was my plan. I probably should have just did more black and less of the white. I'm probably going to take my, oh, what do they call them? Pokey tool. Not really pokey tool, but, I am probably going to end up with trying to think, what do they call those? With the round ball on the end. In paper crafting, we call them embossing tools. I know I got a big blob in one area. Maybe this is what I need to do. Blobs in the corners. I'm going to mix it through though. Kind of try to swirl it on the back here. From what I can see, I'm guaranteed I'm going to have to use some clear. One part of my thought process was also on the front. I was going to use like gold or silver paint on the edges on the front and seal that in. But I think I'm going to end up having to, yeah, this is definitely not enough resin. Did not mix up enough resin. And I honestly don't think I have enough of the original, like I said, the original resin to actually I am looking for an embossing tool. I hope they're not all upstairs. That would not be good, and I think they are. But this should work. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Okay, let's find one. This should work. Yeah, I definitely need more resin. I don't know what this is going to look like. But this is going to have to cure before I can put a clear coat on. I did not mix up enough resin. But I know that it is in all those crevices. I know those are covered. But, I mean, if I can get most of the edge resin spread in, like these corners, they're going to get painted anyhow, I think, on the front. I am definitely going to need another top coat. Absolutely. The whole plan was to have wisps, but I should have had more black, less white, number one. I mean, this might look neat, but I need like a couple more ounces of resin. I will probably mix up another 4 ounces, and I gotta make notes of this that, yeah, they said like, I think I went on Google and said, okay, let's resin board, how many ounces does this take? It takes more. I already had 2 ounces per color, plus 4 ounces. That's 8 ounces. This takes more than 8 ounces of resin. As long as all this is covered, I may not even have to paint on the front. I just might have to put a clear coat. If I have to put a clear coat on the back, it's going to give like a 3D effect, I think. This might not be bad. It's supposed to have like a marbled effect. I don't know if this is actually marbled. Looks like a hot mess to me. But I guess we will find out. And I think there is resin in the entire border of the board. That was another thing. As long as there's resin there. Okay. Where's my thing? Wipe off my tools. I don't think I'm getting any, I don't think there's any more, but I don't want to get this in the resin. I just want to kind of clean this up a little bit. This edge. So I think I am going to have to put a layer of clear. All right. I'm not spritzing with alcohol. Where's my lighter? I've got two of them. One of them's brand new. I haven't even opened yet. I'm nervous about torching. I've got a torch and I'm just scared to death of fusing my resin to my mold. And I just got my lighter in the resin. Smart. Real smart. Now there's a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of bubbles. Okay, no more lighter. This isn't even close to being full, so I don't think there's any danger of it overflowing. Dotting tool. That's what I've heard the resin world call them, dotting tool. And sometimes lighting can play tricks on you. You think you're seeing a bubble, and it's lighting. Just doing a little bit of cleanup here. I don't want any alcohol in my... That's my new Let's Resin heating mat because my old one took a shit. Wrinkled and everything else, and Let's Resin replaced it. Excuse me, replaced it for me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to take off my gloves because I'm done with them. This has to cure. I may put my heating mat on for, I don't know, 2 hours. I'm afraid to put it on any longer than that. You know, I'm really paranoid because the last one worked, you know. I am looking for my skinny tape. There it is. Let's Resin said, tape down the corners of your mat. Try to prevent any warping. We'll see if this, I don't know. So I will be turning this on for a couple hours. And I will see you back here. Okay, I am back. I took this out of the mold. And I had a really big trouble spot right here. Right there. I tried to fix it. UV resin. Then I used Aleene's. Tack it over and over with the, what you call it, trick. Painting on the, brushing on the micro powder. Then I put a coat of UV resin over it. I am still not happy with it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might try to pour just a tiny bit of resin, regular resin, over it. But that's not the only problem part. On the back. Oh, by the way, yes, here is the back. Is that gorgeous or what? I was so happy with how that turned out. I do have some sanding to do, but I don't know why. And I got a couple things here that I don't know if this was in the mold or what. Try to sand that out. Or, yeah. But here, had a problem. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a chunk missing. It's a lot thinner. And I need to do something here. That's thinner than the rest of it. You can see right here at this corner. So I got to think about that. And I know I still have to trim and sand on the edges. But I got to do something here. And I can see it goes down. I don't know if UV resin will fix that. If I can tape it and put some UV resin right in this corner to kind of lift that corner up, and then do my sanding and trimming. But there's a lot of things. There's something right here. I don't know. I don't know. I almost feel like I need a whole another, this feels like it's scratched, and I don't know how that happened. It wasn't there earlier. My dogs did sneak down here. But there's some repairs that need done on this board. All right, and it happens to be the opposite end of where this problem was. A little bit disappointing, you know, and some of the chess pieces, I think I showed you some of these. This was when I said I had no bubbles, it's like it was cast perfect. Those were the reds. These were, yeah. Disappeared. I got my leveling table out. I know nobody's going to really say anything, but I got to try. But these are the blue pieces. I love the color. Now, extras. Resin was really thickening up, and this was poured in a hurry. This is an old mold that I've had for years. I used it once. And then I got one of these tray molds out. Still bubbles in it because it was so thick. I tried to get the bubbles out, but it is what it is. So I'm going to try to take this out of the mold. Yeah, that's easy to demold. You can see all the bubbles, and it feels like it may have been uneven. As much as I think that this table is level, maybe it's not. So I put my leveling table back down. And this is the front. Now there was one little micro bubble right there. One right there. Couple little micro bubbles. I don't know what. I might just try to sand them down, put some UV resin. I thought about cutting something on my Cricut to put in the center. I'm undecided, or if I even want to put my time in, because like I said, the resin was so thick, I was scrambling. My main concern is this chess. I got to figure out what I want to do here, because it's definitely a different color than everything else. I think I'm actually going to try. Where's that thin part? It's right here. I'm going to try to use some tape. Tape this up and try some UV resin on that. And All these scuff marks, I don't know. I don't even know why that happened. These, I think, were micro bubbles. Or might even have been, I'm wondering if the heating mat did that. This is just one thing. It's not going to be able to go on the heating mat. This was definitely a learning experience. There's imperfections in it, absolutely. But let me go ahead. I'm going to try to tape this up, do some UV resin. Let's see if we could do some UV resin magic on this. So I'm going to put some UV resin in here. And then what I'll do from there, while it's curing, I'll take this out of the mold. This one is tough to get out of the mold, quite honestly. Okay. Now I need a stick or something to try to level this out. This is a thicker UV resin, I think. Because I definitely don't want it all bumpy. So I don't want all that sanding to do. All right, let's cure that. Probably doesn't need very long, but that corner's getting sanded anyhow. Okay, guys, this is the finished chessboard. After all those trials and everything, let me tell you, I'm happy. I did find out through this whole process I have a defective mold. I'm going to have to get another mold. One corner doesn't lay flat. So there is a slight slope, but it's not that noticeable. I caught it. I had it weighted down. It's that corner over there. But I already sanded all the rough edges. I'm calling this a win, guys. I am calling it a win. And if you'd see the other board, you'd understand why. And I am going to have a tutorial. What I did with this board, this is like board number 3, trying to get this Christmas present done. You know, I had all those issues with resin coming up behind the squares, all the overpours. I mean, I learned a lot on here. I burnished the mica onto these squares. And I used this tool right here. My tool is well loved. It is covered with resin, cured resin. But I used this right here. And I tell you what, it worked like a dream. Look at those colors. I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. And I'll show you the other board. Now this other board, I liked the marbling better. But it is what it is. And it's heavier because there's several layers. I kept on having to put layer upon layer upon layer. Even a flood coat. I got a rogue square on here, which you guys have seen already. Right there. But look at these edges. I was going to have hours and hours of sanding ahead of me. And this was from drips. Focus. And even onto this other side. This was from that flood coat. Somehow it got through my masking. And, you know, had it not been for these drips, I would have been giving him this board. But I like the marbling and stuff better on this one than the other one. But it is what it is. This has been a learning experience. And I will be doing another chessboard. And I will be walking you through step by step on how you can get a perfect chessboard. And I could save you all the pain and headaches that I had gone through. Anyhow, I thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.
Snow on the porch, coffee getting cold. Radio hums like an old-time road. Garage smells like pine epoxy dreams. Blue and red swirling, glossy and neat. Handstand silver, patience running thin. Clock says midnight, but I'm all in. Every square's a promise, every pour precise. This ain't just a board, it's fire and ice. Lights on the tree flicker like they know something magic setting up slow. It's fire.